Oh boy. All right. Well, here we go. You're getting 15 minutes out of me. That's what you're getting because I don't know why. I don't know why the Sixers bother me so much, even without Embiid, even without Harden, who I can't stand watching. Even without all those, both those guys, I there's something about the Sixers, and props to them. You got your two superstars sitting, and you're able to go in third best team in the West, the Kings, 6-game winning streak, the Kings, and you won. Oh, I have the wrong banner up here. Sorry, Chris Watkins. Hey, check out check out Kings Weekly, everybody. There's a nice plug for them. Let me get, where are we here? Kings recap. There we go. 129, 127, and it was there for them. It was absolutely there for them. That third quarter was just garbage, outscored by 16. Is that the worst loss of the year? No. The Charlotte loss was worse. The Washington loss was worse. They were on the second night of a back-to-back. And did that make them more tired? Yeah. But listen, man, it's the NBA. You got to win those games. I don't know. I mean, they got the win yesterday. It was a great win. And, going up against Memphis now, that's tough. But that defense, dude, you're up 20 plus. No Harden, no Embiid. And it was just sloppy, dude. It was just a sloppy game all around. Not what we've gotten used to. But you know what? Isn't it funny? Don't we all? Let me ask you guys this. I want you to think about this. Have you gotten to the point where you expect to win these games? Because every time I feel like, every time I feel like I start getting comfortable, like, hey, you know what? This is different. You got to quit. You got to quit stressing out. The stuff like this happens. Like we're always feel like we're always going to be on our toes. I did expect when I found out Harden and Embiid were out, I did expect to win tonight. Don't get me wrong. And it sucks with these because they've earned the respect for us not to be like, oh, same old Kings, it's garbage, they're trash, bunch of stuff. No, they lost. They lost, and they're 26-19, and everything's going to be fine. And they've done far more great this year than not. So I'm not going to make any big proclamations there. Foxy had a great night, another wonderful fourth quarter. There's not a lot to point to offensively. There really isn't. They got decent bench help. I know Malik was off tonight a little bit. Harrison Barnes is in a situation where, the Sixers did what they could. They did what they could to give it to him. Let's see. Katie's trying to call me right now because she doesn't realize that Katie doesn't realize I'm on this thing right now. You guys want to hear from Katie? Let me see if I can bring her up here and bring her in. It's tough. And I know that's like super awesome analysis for me, but the bottom line is this: they couldn't get stops. They had a season record for points at 74 at the half, which is great. But if you can't get stops after that, it doesn't matter. So awesome. You have great defense. And I know they know this. Or you have great offense, excuse me. But if you don't have the ability to get stops, that's a problem. One thing they do have, which is going to come in handy if they do make the playoffs, is they have not one but two go-to scorers. That's great. But you've got to be able to you have to be able to get stops. And towards the end, they did a little bit. But what do we say? Don't play with your food and don't leave it in the hands of the judges. And that's what they did tonight. They played with their food too much. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for a Hardenless, Embiidless Sixers team to outscore you 38-22. Listen, if you're going to give up 38, again, that's this team. That's how their bread and butter a lot of the time this year has been being able to outscore people. But when you only score 22, it's like their offense was hot garbage in that third. Yeah, I agree, Akash. They could have used Chimezie. And here's to hoping he's fine. But it's that defense, and that's going to hit you. You know what I'm saying? You have, and that's a great point, Sass. You've got your starters on the second night of a back-to-back, 38-38, 41-38, 31. They definitely needed some bench scoring. I know, Earl, a lot of people are talking about Serge Ibaka. Looking at his numbers, I'm not entirely sure he's not washed, but they need something. They need Serge Ibaka. They need Mason Plumlee. But what frustrates me is, I don't know, it still gets me. I am just not convinced, and maybe I'm just being delusional here. But as Nider Joe says, you need a legitimate backup center. I hear you. I'm just not convinced it's not Rashawn. I don't understand why Rashawn Holmes can do what he did in a starting role when Sabonis was out, when he was sick a couple of nights ago, and he can't. And not that this is Rashawn's fault, but why can't that be our backup? Rashawn Holmes didn't. Here's one thing that did kind of bother me, and a little on Mike Brown, is that as Rashawn Holmes played all last night. We welcome Katie on the. It sounds like she's driving, so that's good. That's why we can't see her. Katie, we were just there's a lot of stuff to talk about here, but one of the subjects we were at is, Rashawn comes in for DeMontis when he was sick. He played really well. Then DNP last night on the first night of a back-to-back, and then in 6 minutes tonight, he's 2 of 2, which is serviceable for the limited amount of minutes. And I'm wondering why he didn't play last night. And I'm wondering why Mike Brown, who has pulled all the right levers this year, isn't trying to take advantage of that momentum with Rashawn and maybe get him some minutes, especially knowing they were on the first night of a back-to-back last night.
I think hi. And no disrespect, I think a lot of people are really, questioning that as well. I think it has a little bit more to do with matchups and like the team that you're playing versus, taking advantage of momentum, what have you, right? So last night you're playing against an Oklahoma City Thunder team that is really undersized and very athletic. And so, Chimezie has done being able to switch all 5 positions, as well as really challenging people with his athleticism from a vertical standpoint offensively. But I will say this in terms of tonight, I feel like his injury was a turning point in the game. And it kind of took the wind out of the sails of the Kings a little bit. And by the end of that second quarter, I feel like the wheels had kind of fallen off, and they allowed, over the course of the last 3 minutes of the second quarter and through the third, just a massive run by a Philly team that's playing without, 2 of their stars.
Yeah, and that's what I wonder. We said before you came on, the Kings have earned enough respect to not do the whole, same old Kings and they're soft and losses happen. Second night of a back-to-back, which I think it's a contributing factor. But you're at home against a team without Harden, without Embiid, which made the game far more watchable, by the way. But you still have Tyrese Maxey, you still have Montrezl Harrell, you still have other guys. Yeah. I just don't understand how you get held to 22 points and get outscored 38-22 in the third, especially when they were scaring you a little bit already in the first.
Listen, every team's going to go through some shooting droughts, and they were unbelievable in the first half. They shot what, over 60%, I think, in the first half.
Yeah.
And so did Philly. They were like 57, 58%. And the difference was is that the Kings cooled off from long range in the second half of the game. And that is something you have to credit Philly for defensively just kind of queuing in on. We saw a lot more zone in the second half, which is something that the Sixers actually rely on very heavily. And I was shocked that we didn't see that much of it in the first half of the game. But um, I'll just kind of make a quick, kind of assessment of how I feel, and then I got to go relieve my nanny. But I as disappointing as the loss was, because it was a very winnable game, a game that I felt that they had great control over for the first 21 minutes. I am okay with kind of how this played out in a way, not the loss per se, but I think that this team needs to be challenged, and they need to go through some adversity and some experiences that may be unpleasant right now during the regular season, but those are going to be very valuable lessons when it comes to the postseason for me. And you look at the Kings, and they're in third place, and they came in, what was it, 8 games above 500 coming in today. Nobody in their right mind would have thought that that was where this team would be just past the midway point of the season. And they've been incredibly healthy. They haven't had to deal with a lot of adversities. This was an adversity that they had to deal with. They had Chimezi go down. That was a mental adversity that they had to go through, because it is really a weird thing that it does to your mentality and your emotions when that happens. And I hope that Mezzi is okay, because that injury did not look good. But luckily he was able to get up and walk off of his own volition. But I'm okay with a loss that maybe shouldn't have happened at, ending a 6-game win streak. It's not like this was the 4th or 5th loss in a row. I think it's going to end up proving very valuable that they had this experience and went through it. And even just the experience in a live game of dealing with the last 30 seconds of a game like that, right? You can recreate it in practice as much as you want. It is not the same thing as going through it in a live game. And when you get to a 7-game series against a team that has you scouted so incredibly well, it's going to come down to games like that. And they just experienced it. And there's going to be massive swings in momentum. And all this game had a lot of those things that I think are really valuable for them, come playoffs. So I'm choosing to look at it that way. Yeah, you can still be disappointed in the loss, but I can at least look at it and say there was some value that came out of that game, that it's going to end up being beneficial for them, in my opinion, long term.
Go relieve your nanny. Thanks for carrying the load on this post game show.
You are just a terrible individual. All right, everyone, have a good night, and go Kings.
Go Kings. Bye. That's Katie. Thank you, Katie. I wanted to wait. I'm going to wait for her to. I had to wait to get her out of here, and thanks to her, and you guys know I love her to death, because I didn't want to argue, and she had to go get her nanny. And Katie is a former player. Katie is an analyst, and Katie's probably right. I just don't want to hear the whole well, there could be a good side to this win. I'm not in that frame of mind right now. I'm sure she's right, but I can't do the whole well, they're in third place. It's overall, it's great. And she's right. They're in third place. Overall, it's great. This is much better than we would have thought. But that's starting to become the whole when the Kings were sucking, and we would say, remember when the Kings, well, of course you remember when the Kings sucked, but every year, right after we saved the team, it's well, they could be in Seattle. Well, they could, well, we got the new Golden One Center. And then after a while, it's okay, we saved the team. We got the Golden One Center. They still suck. We need to win ball games. I'm not in the mood for it's beneficial to lose. I'm not, which is not exactly what she said. I want to be angry and frustrated, and I want to be pissed, and then I want to be done with it, and I want to go to sleep. I want to wake up tomorrow and watch football and This better not bleed into the Niners Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say this. I know not all of you are Niner fans, but I would definitely trade tonight's Kings loss if the Niners win tomorrow. Right? Like if you're a Niner fan, we can all agree on one thing, whether you're a Niner fan or not, whether you're mad about this game or not. There's one thing I think we can all agree upon tonight, folks, and that is the Cowboys are stupid. Right? We all agree on that. And yeah, with Memphis coming in, I mean, this was the one to get because that Memphis game is going to be tough. Those guys are absolutely on fire. I know they lost to the Lakers, but it's the same thing. You probably had whoever in Memphis. Eric Hasseltine's my guy, the play-by-play guy for those Grizzlies. But I'm sure you had somebody on the postgame show saying, hey, this Laker loss, this will wake them up. This is what you got to do, just like Katie did. And unfortunately, they're going to be woken up, and we're going to be facing a very angry Memphis Grizzlies team. They will be, as Mohammed's pointing out right now, on the second night of a back-to-back. And get ready, kids, because have you been enjoying these Kings home games a little bit? You've been enjoying the schedule because here we go. They play Memphis, and then they play a really struggling Toronto team. That's on Wednesday, and then they are gone. They've got that 7-game road trip, 2 in Minnie, 2 in Houston. You get the return to Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton. Then you come home for 2 against Dallas. Then you're on the road, Phoenix, back for Portland. Then you're on the road for 3. Between January 28th and February 28th, the Sacramento Kings play 3 home games in a month. So, yeah. You got to win these, man, because those Pelicans are going to get healthy. I don't think the Warriors are going to suck forever. I got to think Phoenix is going to get healthy at some point. So you gotta pack this lead. As it stands right now, let me give you some standings before we get out of here and get back to the weekend. Your Kings are still in third. They are a half game ahead of New Orleans. And if we want to look at division, just because I know some of you guys probably have money on it, they still have a 3.5 game lead over both the Clippers and Golden State, a 4-game lead over Phoenix, 5.5 over that poverty franchise, the Los Angeles Lakers. All right. Remember, Monday, we are going 6 to 11 a.m. The morning show is. I will be on by myself 6 to 7. 7 to 10 will be Jason and myself, and then Jason will go 10 to 11 before handing it off to the first day back for Deuce and Mo, starting at 11, and then Cattles and Rami will take the baton at 2 o'clock all the way to 6, 4 hours. It's a new lineup. It's a new bunch of hours. If you think that 5-hour block sounds weird, it's because it is, and it's temporary while we get some stuff figured out, but we'll be ready for you. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Chris, I'm not ignoring you. What am I eating for tomorrow? I think we're having mozzarella sticks, chicken wings, potatoes. And my wife's making homemade potato skins. I thought there was something else. Making my chili cream cheese dip. We're gonna have an onion dip. What are we having for dinner? Probably nothing, right? Like I think we're just gonna munch our way through to dinner. So we're gonna eat healthy tomorrow. Bottom line, we're gonna eat healthy and totally not get overrun with sodium. I don't care. I'll eat whatever as long as the Niners win tomorrow. Need that, and then we'll get back to the Kings next week. So for Katie Christensen, I am Carmichael Dave. We will see you Monday morning at 6 a.m. No beam tonight, kids. It is a purple beamless Sacramento skyline, but I'll tell you this much. They get a win over Memphis, and I'll take this loss for sure. All right, everybody. Have a great, safe weekend. We'll see you Monday at 6 a.m. Bye-bye now.